This is Module 2, Lesson 17, titled Divisibility Tests for 3 and 9. Our goal is I can determine if numbers are divisible by 2, 3, 5, 9, and 10. With that goal, I've added a few extra numbers. What we're talking about when we say divisible is, can a number, we're going to determine if a number can be evenly divided with nothing left over by 2, 3, 5, 9, and 10. Now this is going to come in very handy in the next lessons when we're talking about greatest common factor and least common multiple. Before we get into this video, make sure that you guys take good notes throughout this video. Make sure that you pause the video at any time that you need to. Make sure you watch the video or parts of the video as many times as necessary. Let's go on to the opening exercise. Below is a list of 10 numbers. We're going to place each number in the circles that is a factor of a number. Some numbers can be placed in more than one circle. For example, 32 on the list, it could be placed in the circles with 2, 4, and 8 because they are all factors of 32. Now, before you guys get into this, we're going to ignore 4 and 8. Those are not really easy rules for divisibility, and in my opinion, if you're going to be divisible by 4 and 8, you're also going to be divisible by 2. So why not use the divisibility rule of 2, which is very easy. We're going to come back to this. So let's flip your page and let's go to the discussion part. We're going to list some of these rules for divisibility, and then I'm going to have you guys pause the video, put those numbers in the correct circles, and then we'll check yourselves. Starting with the divisibility rule for 2. Any number that can be divisible, divided by 2, has to be an even number. That means it must end with a 0, a 2, 4, 6, or an 8. An example of a number that would be divisible by 2 would be 54. Notice that it ends with one of those numbers. Another example would be 128. Both of those end in those numbers, so therefore it means we can divide it by 2 and have nothing left over. I'm going to skip the divisibility rule for 4 and go to the divisibility rule for 5. A number can be divided by 5 if it ends with a 0 or a 5. So an example would be 400. Notice it ends in a 0. Or 85. It ends in a 5. Both of those numbers have a factor of 5. We're going to skip the divisibility rule for 8, and we're going to go to 10. A number can be divisible by 10 if it ends with 0. A number must end with 0. So an example of a number that is divisible by 10 might be 40 or 730. They all end in 0. Now what I would like you guys to do is go back to the opening exercises. I want you to put each of those numbers in one of those 3 circles that they belong to. Remember, some of those numbers might belong to more than one circle. I want to have you guys pause the video, and then when you're done, I want you to check your answers. Okay, to check your answers here, in the circle that was 2, you should have had a 24, a 36, an 80, 214, 360, 4,678, and 414,940. All of those numbers ended with a 0, a 2, 4, 6, or an 8. Over here on the 5s, you should have had an 80, a 115, a 360, 975, 29,785, and 414,940. All of those numbers ended with a 5 or a 0. And then down at the bottom, the tens, you should have had 80, 360, and then 414,940, because all of those numbers ended with 0.